All right, welcome to. We're gonna call this episode one
Episode one.
of the Discipline the Gens podcast, where we cover all things sports betting as well as answering your questions. So today we're actually recording from our new studio here in South Florida, and we have a ton of different topics to go over.
Palm Beach in the house.
So before we even get into that, how about them Golden State Warriors?
Oh man, where do I start with my Dubs? So if I had to say in hindsight that I'm surprised that they won, it wouldn't even be accurate. It's right. Like we had the core three back and we had Wiggins step up. He became he became what people thought the one overall pick should be. But if I had to sum the season up, it just feels good to not see them break apart, get split up, going through all those injuries. So
What was your legitimate confidence level 1 to 10 when they were down 2-1?
1 to 10 is a hard number for me. Let me say I still had 6 out of 10. I was still betting the series even after they dropped 2-1. I don't really get nervous just because they've been there so many times until we have 3 losses.
Bro, when they were down 2-1, I put out a video. It's now gone off of TikTok because TikTok are some assholes. But I literally put out a video and said, the Golden State Warriors you could take right now at a game and a half, getting a game and a half. That was absolutely incredible to me that they were plus a game and a half at any point in that series.
And that was like minus 110, right?
Yeah, it was like even.
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
close to even money. It was absolutely incredible. And, once they made it 2-2, I think it shifted back where Boston was getting a game and a half, but then that was like minus 170 or something. But very, very impressive run. They were very poised. Now I think there's a lot of questions like who do you pay in the offseason? Wiggins played tremendously well. Jordan Poole is like the next splash brother. You got a lot of young talent on the bench as well. So many questions, and I guess it's a good problem to have for your GM.
Yeah, I agree. So this is going to piss off a lot of people, but I think Clay has to go. And it hurts me to say it because he's a part of all four. And the heart that he gave, I don't know if people can go back in time, the heart that he gave when he tore that MCL or ACL and he went out and still shot the free throws and made them both. I won't forget that. It's just now with age and his price, maybe he comes down. If he's willing to come down a little bit.
I mean, you're playing alongside Steph Curry, who's probably the most selfless superstar of all time. So I think Clay's going to work with them when it comes to his contract, or restructuring it, if you will. But I just can never see them moving on from him because, like, the whole culture in Golden State, like between Steph and Clay and what they've built, and then Draymond. But there's definitely going to be some decisions in the offseason. So with that said, right now, who is your pick, bias aside, to win it all next season for the NBA Finals? And I know the finals just ended yesterday, but let's go over some of these odds.
I was gonna say let me give you a value play.
All right, I'm gonna read off to get started here. What some of the top odds are. Let's go with some of the favorites here. So your Golden State Warriors right now are the favorite for next season at plus 550, and the Celtics are the next favorite at plus 650. Then you have the Brooklyn Nets at 7-1, the Clippers at 7.5-1, the Bucks at 8-1, Suns at 9-1, Mavs and Nuggets at 14-1, and Grizzlies and Heat, and 76ers at 14-1. And then you have the long shot teams like Los Angeles at 22-1, Pelicans at 40-1, Jazz 40-1. Does anything jump off the chart to you here as far as a value play?
I'll do a process of elimination. I know people want the exact play, but let me just give me a minute here. I would immediately, for a value perspective, eliminate the Warriors and Celtics. Not that they can't do it, but just that we all have short-term memories. The value's not there. You'll be able to get both the Warriors and Celtics at greater odds than that after like a cold run during the season. So I immediately knock off those two. It's hard. The Nets got swept, so it's like that's in everyone's mind. I don't think they have what it takes. That said, I think they're going to sign some big checks to make a run at it. If I had to make one play, I would say Bucks at plus 800, 8-1 has a lot of value in it, and Suns at 9-1. I hate to be in that tier, but
the Bucks were my pick at like around 8-1, like halfway through the postseason. They were still getting good value, and honestly, I think it would have been Bucks Warriors if Middleton doesn't go down. I really do. It would have been a very close series between.
I completely agree.
So. The thing that jumps off the chart to me here is definitely the Grizzlies at 14-1. I don't know if they'll be able to get it done, but I think if we're just playing in the number here, 14-1 to me is probably the most attractive thing I see on there. I mean, the Lakers, who knows what they're gonna do?
You love your Sixers.
I hate the Sixers, bro.
I know.
I like the Eagles.
I know.
Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts for MVP this season, but that's another story.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. But I don't believe in the 76ers. I truthfully don't. I think that Embiid is an incredible talent, but I don't trust him to stay healthy over his career, and I don't trust him to put enough pieces around him. But anyways, I do like the Grizzlies at 14-1.
I would say the Sixers at
I'd say the Heat
have
have value because if they get Oladipo, next thing you know, they're a legit. I mean, they're already a contender. If they get Oladipo, or I said Oladipo. Who are they looking to get?
I don't even follow them.
Shooting guard. Who was it?
It's all good.
No, Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, they're going after Donovan Mitchell.
They're trying to get Donovan Mitchell. I don't know, but if they can get a legit shooting guard, like they're the real deal. And if Tyler Hero can step up and become a starter, you never know. So
no, I agree.
But all right, let's move on from that. Our next topic, NFL Super Bowl. Your pick to win the title this season. So right now, the Buffalo Bills are the favorite at 6.5-1. Tampa Bay Bucks are the next favorite at 7.5-1. Then we have the Chiefs at 9-1, the Packers at 11-1, Rams at 11-1, and then 49ers at 14-1, Cowboys at 16-1, and then we can go on and on here on these long shots.
No need.
Any team that sticks out to you here?
Oh man, so this breaks my heart to say. Do you know who's jumping out at me? Breaks my heart.
Hold on, give me a second.
9-1.
Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs made some damn good offseason moves. I think they drafted well. Obviously, losing Cheetah doesn't help, but they picked up Juju. I hate to say it. I actually think the Chiefs are the team to beat. That's what I think. I think this is backward. The Bills have the mafia is so allegiant that they're like, we can't do it again. We can't fall short again. So everyone's overbetting it. And I don't know. I wasn't thoroughly impressed with the Buccaneers. I thought the Niners, I was cheering for the Bucs over the Rams because I thought the Niners would have steamrolled.
Yeah. I won't be surprised if the Buccaneers stumble out of the gate here the first few games, like maybe like a 1-2 start. I haven't looked at their schedule, but just with the lack of continuity in the offseason and the Brady retiring and then coming back, and I won't be surprised if they stumble out the gate here. I'm really high on the Buffalo Bills. I don't really like the value at 6.5-1, but I do think they're going to represent the AFC. I just think they're the most loaded team in the NFL this season.
And then I got to tell you, with my bias, the Niners at 14-1, it doesn't have value. I won't say it has value. That's the wrong word. But I will say, if Trey Day comes out and is the physical talent that they expected him to be, well-rested, developing, steps up, little to no experience at a highly competitive level, so big wild card, they are a team that could scare some people, like in the first 3 weeks, come out 3-0, just smacking people in the mouth, and they drop instantly. So yeah, that's my bias. I won't say value there.
No, I agree, because in the NFL, I love taking teams that have quarterbacks on a small deal that have upside, and then they sprinkle their money across the rest of the team because they're able to, because they're not paying a QB max money. So I love NFL teams that I think can make a run in that position, especially if they're like a wild card team, and they just have a really good overall team and a QB on a small deal that has that rushing upside or can develop over the course of the season. I do think they have a chance for sure. What else we got? So is there a sleeper pick for you? Or I'm assuming that was your sleeper pick there.
No. I wouldn't call my Niners my sleeper. I'd say Chiefs for the value. They should be the team to beat. 9-1 is too rich. If I'm looking at a sleeper team,
I think the Colts are a big sleeper team. I've never been too high on Matt Ryan, but he's always been a good dome quarterback, and you have Jonathan Taylor there, and I think the Colts are a sleeper for sure. 25-1, I would play the number there.
So for me, there's actually a really good statistic. Anyone that wants to run out there and do it themselves, the division that loses the Super Bowl, there's it doesn't happen every year, but there's a higher probability that a team from that division gets back there. So I don't like the uncertainty with the Browns. I would say the Ravens. at 20-1. Get back to what they were. They're always there. They're always competitive. If I had to say a sleeper, 20-1 is pretty juicy.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
What about my Philadelphia Eagles at 28-1? Is that worth the sprinkle?
It's absolutely
because they can win the division, the NFC least, right? If they at least win the division, then you hedge bettors out there can at least take the opposite team. I think it's worth a sprinkle.
Yeah, your boys.
They're gonna have mark my words. This season, Jalen Hurts is gonna break the quarterback rushing record of all time this season.
Really?
You can't think about their personnel now. You got AJ Brown on the outside.
Yeah.
You got a great run game. You know, is Jalen the best passer in the league? Of course not. But if you can have these misdirections and these halfback tosses and Jalen Hurts play action, rollouts, and I'm telling you, bias aside, I truly believe their offense has the potential to be special this year, and it's going to come down. And then Nick Sirianni another year with the team. There's more continuity. Jalen Hurts is going to work his ass off in the offseason, and I think they're going to
going back in time a little bit, for anyone out there that knows how short Maddie and I have known each other, we actually met on TikTok during the Niners-Philly game that week. You helped me get a lot of people on Bet Openly. I appreciate that. You were basically talking about all the value on Philly, and I said, I'll take any bet on Philly. And I mean this to this day. Philly should have won that game.
Bro, I got so much heat for that game, and people could not admit that the Eagles should have won or at least been in that game because I think it was Jalen Rigger, one of the receivers stepped out of bounds on a TD pass. It changed the whole momentum of the game.
We stopped them on fourth down on the goal line.
Yeah, it changed everything.
It
changed everything. But hey, I'm telling you, mark my words, Eagles are going to make a run this year. We'll get into that here shortly. So let's get into NFL MVP odds. I'm going to pull those up now. That's Defensive Player of the Year. Here it is. So right now, Josh Allen is the favorite, as he should be, as the Bills are the favorite to win the Super Bowl. And you got Patty Mahomes at 8-1, Tom Brady 8-1, Aaron Rodgers 9-1, Herbert 9-1, Joe Burrow 12-1, Stafford and Prescott and Russell Wilson at 14-1. And then you got Lamar at 20-1, Kyler 20-1, Jalen Hurts 25-1, Derek Carr 25-1. Anything stick out to you on there?
Derek Carr at 25-1 with Devontae Adams. He puts up a lot of numbers that people don't even give him the love he deserves just based on numbers.
Yeah.
Without that talent. They kept their core group. Walker's a beast of a tight end. And now they add in Devontae. That to me screams not the only way, the Raiders defense has actually stepped up a little bit, but the most likely way they win is out firing people.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I'm interested to know what his odds were before that Devontae Adams deal.
Yeah,
probably at least 30 or 40-1 because I know Jalen Hurts was 40-1, and now he's like one of the most popular bet MVP bets. Just because they got AJ Brown and their Eagles are now getting a little more hype around them, and he's got the Russian TD and Russian yards upside, and if he develops as a passer, it's a bet that's logical to me. So I'm gonna look into the camera right now, and I'm telling you, I'm placing $4,000 on Jalen Hurts at 25-1 odds because I want that $100,000, $4,000 to win $100,000. Jalen Hurts is gonna win MVP this season in the NFL. He's got the Russian upside. He's going to get touchdowns on the ground. He's going to be throwing up jump balls to A.J. Brown. He's going to get the screen passes. That offense is going to be clicking on all cylinders. Give me Jalen Hurts to win the MVP.
My man, Allegiant, loyal to the soil. What I will say is it's a tough division to win the MVP in. It's a tough defensive division.
What?
I just feel like Washington battles. I feel like you guys have the outside weather. I don't know. It just does. I can't. Maybe my memory is failing me. I can't remember the last time someone in the NFC East won MVP. And I got a question for all the listeners too. When's the last time a non-quarterback won MVP?
I think it was Adrian Peterson in 2012.
Oh, that recent. Okay, so
I'm guessing.
10 years.
I'm guessing that. I can actually probably look it up, but
no.
I think
we don't. Yeah, we could just ask it someone. We could look it up later.
I'm pretty sure it was AP, and
I would. That was
2013 he won MVP.
Okay, so
yeah.
9 years ago.
Look, if I had to pick a MVP of the league right now that's a non-quarterback, I would 100% take Jonathan Taylor. I think that he's going to be just a workhorse of a back this season for the Colts. And I think, if Matt Ryan's going to be successful in that offense, it's because they're pounding the rock and then go and play action. So I do think that Jonathan Taylor has tremendous upside. I mean, I would 100% take him number 1 overall in fantasy football. I would take
Without
him
a doubt.
over McCaffrey, over Derrick Henry. And I'm a huge Derrick Henry fan, but I just think JT has less downside than those two. I don't see him. He's not a guy that has that injury history like those two do. And, because McCaffrey and Derrick Henry, they have tremendous upside, but I just think Jonathan Taylor.
And speaking local, I mean, we're South Florida guys now. We gotta adopt our local team just a little bit.
Yeah.
Are you buying or selling Tua and Cheetah?
Yeah, so Tua's 50-1 right now to win the MVP.
I meant more. Are you buying and selling the combo? Not the MVP. He doesn't have that.
Yeah,
I would eat my words if he gets MVP. I'll bow down. I don't.
Well, yeah, no, I agree, but I think so with Tua compared to Jalen. Like, I think Tua has to do less. Like, I think the Dolphins lean on their defense. Mm-hmm. He can get these quick little passes out, and he has good. I mean, I would say both teams at this point have good talent around them. But with Tua, I mean, I watched Tua for 2 years in Tuscaloosa. I watched him get subbed in the game for the Crimson Tide when Jalen Hurts got benched, and I watched him throw the touchdown pass. And I don't know. Honest to God, I think he could be tremendous in the NFL, or I think he could be a total bust. And I'm not really sure. The one thing I will say is I don't think he has the athleticism that some of these smaller QBs do, like a Russell Wilson or like Jalen Hurts is like pound for pound the strongest QB in the league. Like, I know I'm biased there, but like,
I'll have to take his mic away if I hear that.
No. In all seriousness, though, if you think about it, like Tua, he's got some decent arm talent, but like he has to be super accurate. Like he's got to be like Drew Brees. Like Drew Brees is an anomaly.
So
you don't see these 6 foot.
Selling. You're selling this trade. You're selling the new Miami Dolphins.
I'm not selling. I just don't think. I guess I'm on the fence about Tua long term. I think the Dolphins could make some noise 100%. I think that they can get a wild card. I don't think they're going to beat out the Bills, and who the hell knows what New England's going to be. Yep. But I don't know, to be honest with you. I think it's.
They're going to be New England. They're going to compete. They're going to put out a winning football, a winning record, and they're going to be there at the end of the season. Yeah, I mean, I met Tua and I met Jalen Hurts both when I lived in Tuscaloosa. So I'll tell you a quick story. So I owned a Philly cheesesteak shop in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and Jalen Hurts one day, I'm sitting on my laptop in my shop, like crunching some numbers. My employees are like serving beers, making food. I look over to my shoulder to the right, and I was like, that's Jalen Hurts. And he walks into my restaurant, right? And so he goes up to the cash register, and he's in there for the first time. So he's looking at the menu, and I didn't know what to do. Like, should I get up? Should I just let him order? I decided to let him order first. He's looking at the menu, browsing through, right? He asks our cashier, he says, do you guys have lettuce for your cheesesteaks? No joke, right? We didn't have lettuce. We were out of lettuce, or whatever the case was, right? I don't know. This was like 3-4 years ago. We didn't have lettuce. I swear to God, once the cashier told him we didn't have lettuce, within 5 seconds, he walked out. And next thing you know, he was in his car and he left. And I was like, man, you let him down.
Jalen literally walked out because we didn't have lettuce. Like, maybe he has that type of discipline, right? Like, he needed some vegetables or some lettuce or something on a sandwich. I was just like, it didn't make any sense to me, but it was something I'll never forget. It was hilarious. And then I met Tua at Best Buy. My catering manager I hired introduced me to him. And he was a super nice. I mean, they're both very, very nice guys. Like, very, very nice individuals. And I wish both of them. I hope both of them have good careers or great careers in the NFL, especially Jalen, obviously.
Can I sneak in a story?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I'm from San Francisco. I think it was the first World Series run. I'm pretty sure it was the first World Series run. If not, it was the second. I'm at a local bar and I'm drinking. I'm single. I hope my wife never hears this. So buying shots. Jaeger bombs were a big deal at that time. And this is going to sound gross, but we used to do Giants bombs, orange soda and Jaeger. So they were black and orange. They're disgusting. So I'm getting drunk. I think I like fake called in sick to work, and I'm at a bar in the middle of the day watching games on one of those series runs, and it was an off day, and I go into the bathroom, and I'm peeing, and I'm pretty drunk. We're with a bunch of chicks trying to be cool guys buying bar tabs, and Pat the Bat walks in, and he's like, "Oh," I'm like, "Oh, my bad, dude. I meant to lock the door." And he's like, "It's okay, man. I got a small D too." And the difference was, though, I'm sitting there with my D out. His ain't out. And then literally Aubrey Huff walks in, clowning on both of us for being in the bathroom, me peeing and dude watching. So that's my Giants baseball in San Francisco story. And these guys then, after we came out, and we were, again, I'm not trying to brag, but it's the truth. We're single at the time. We're with a bunch of chicks. And they came over and they're like, "Let us buy a tab. This guy has a small D." And they're like, "We're just playing." I thought it was so funny.
Wow.
And I told that story 100 times I was probably, God, I can't even imagine it anymore. I think I was 25, something like that.
Oh my God.
But he probably said this guy has a small D like 20 times, and I was dying laughing.
Oh my God.
San Francisco baseball.
Yeah. All right, next topic. I think I have comeback player of the year odds. Let me see if I do. Actually, I don't think I do. We're going to go with defensive player of the year odds in the NFL this season. Myles Garrett right now is the favorite at 6-1. We got TJ Watt at plus 650, Aaron Donald at plus 800, Micah Parsons at plus 900, and then we got Nick Bosa at plus 1200 with his brother Joey Bosa sitting at 20-1. And then we got Khalil Mack and Chase Young at 25-1. Is there any number or player that sticks out to you here?
Ooh, man, it's a tough one. If I'm looking just on value, Micah Parsons stands out to me.
I agree with that, and I hate to say it as an Eagles fan. To me, the two numbers that stick out: Aaron Donald at 8-1 and Micah Parsons at 9-1. I don't know if Myles Garrett. It's tough because
I think Donald's gonna have a hangover.
These dominant players just get double teamed, and then it's how much impact can they have when it comes to statistics because of it? But like Micah Parsons, he can be he's legit. He really is. So I think he has a shot at it. I think that Aaron Donald. I know you think he's gonna have a hangover, but I don't know. You see his workout videos on Instagram.
He works out harder than anyone in the league.
Absolutely insane.
You gotta have some sort of a hangover. I think just accomplishing everything you've ever wanted. So
it's possible, but yeah, I would roll with either of those two just based on the number. I think
TJ Watt not to you at all.
25-1. I don't know. Do you think he's a little past his prime?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's basically
Darius Leonard 30-1.
It's basically does he have? I don't want to say one last run. That sounds like his career's over. It's not.
Yeah.
And I love the energy on Max Crosby. Dude, my Bay Area friends would be like, "Dude, you're showing the Raiders too much love."
Yeah.
That would just be a fun one. I think he's a fun player to watch. He has a good story too. I forget what kind of addiction or something he had, but it's some sort of abuse and bounce back, comeback story.
Yeah.
Both him and the tight end. So, yeah. That's such a tough one, dude. It's like you said, it's so situational. It depends on other people on your team stepping up, so you no longer can get double teamed, so you can get your fair shake.
100%.
That's a tough one.
There's definitely some luck involved on those. Next topic is NFL underdogs. So, as you know, this is one of my favorite topics out there. So, I'm gonna give a quick recap to the audience here. NFL underdogs last season. If you put one unit on every single underdog to win the game outright for all of 21-22 season, yep, you're up over 22 units, right? So,
and real quick before you go on, there's always someone out there. Don't let it be you. That names like the 5 long shot games that couldn't have happened. That's not how it works when you do macro systems. There is always those one-offs. And that's the point of the system. Yeah,
and that happened more on March Madness than anything. The St. Peter's, everyone was like, "Oh, St. Peter's didn't win, then you would have lost." Like, no year. Shit. Yeah. But this season, this NFL season, I have a theory. My theory is sports betting is so big at this point. It's so mainstream and it's so popular. It's legal in the majority of the states at this point, right? My theory is there are going to be more square bettors than ever. taken high-powered offenses like the Chiefs and the Bucks and the Bills to cover the spread or on the money line. Think about it. They're going to have the Chiefs at minus 300 in a parlay and the Bills to cover the spread in a parlay. And I think there's going to be more value than ever on underdog money lines because of this going into this season. My prediction is this year, if you put 1 unit on every NFL underdog money line to win the game outright, I believe I'm going to be up 40 units this season. It was up 22 units last year. I think it's going to be that significant of a jump, and I'm testing it this year. I'm going I don't know if Gina's doing this with me or not, so I'm going to say I'm going $500 on every NFL underdog. If Gina wants to join me,
I made a mistake
we're going.
In Vegas. I made the mistake in Vegas. Maddie went up to the window every day with $100 and bet every dog flat out, and I was the Degens sitting there picking those 3-team parlays, throwing in 2 dogs and a favorite. So I don't want to say I am and lie to everyone. It's going to be very hard for me to not.
See, here's my theory, right? Last season, week 1 was like one of the biggest weeks for NFL underdogs cashing. It wasn't the biggest, but it was up there, right?
Yeah.
So my theory is, how many games is there in a week? Week 1, there's no buys. So what's that? 16 games?
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, I put up $8,000. Gino puts up $8,000. We have $16,000 as a bankroll. Now, obviously, if we have a losing first week, we might have to revamp the bankroll. Yeah. But let's say that history repeats itself, and this year is the same as last year or similar. If I put up $8,000 and Gino puts up $8,000, we have a $16,000, call it a bankroll if you want, right? And we put $1,000 on every NFL underdog money line. Let's say we hit 30% of them or 35% of them. We're going to be up significantly. And we can ride that momentum going into each week. And as long as we don't have a really, really poor week, we can ride that momentum the entire season.
And I hate to be a self-cheerleader here. I want to run your same numbers on Bet Openly.
So I
want to run your same numbers on Bet Openly.
So, yeah.
You might already be at your 40 units.
I think it would be. And here's the thing. Here's my theory is we can put those bets in on Bet Openly early in the week. And if they don't get fulfilled, then we just put them into the sports books. But the name of this game is going to be finding the best price, whether it's on Bet Openly or any single sports book. Obviously, Bet Openly is always going to have the best number. It's just a matter if it gets fulfilled or not. And the ones that don't get fulfilled, we just line shop and figure out where the best odds are per sports book. Here's the other thing strategy-wise we have to discuss, because when you're betting favorites in the NFL, I think you got to bet them early in the week, right? If you're betting underdogs, I think you have to wait as close as possible to the closing line, right? Generally speaking.
Yeah, I was gonna say that theory should macro work where you get more value up closer to the kickoff. Where you can shop them early in the week on Bet Openly and then play some last minute, because especially in primetime games, 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, you're going to gain value, and it would make up for the time you lose value.
Yeah, unless it's like a super popular, trendy underdog, then I think that might be against that theory. Yeah. But I know, like UFC, for example, if you take a favorite 4 weeks before a fight, it is fucking drastic. You might get someone at minus 200, and by the time they fight, they're minus 350 in the UFC, and that happens all the time. And that's the thing about UFC handicapping is 99% of people don't have the discipline or money set aside. And I get it. Who wants to tie up money for 4 weeks?
No. And
everyone hates doing that.
Of course.
But that's the benefit of doing it is you're getting a much better price point and much better value.
So we heard Maddie's now. Let me give you my theory and we'll see which one. Hopefully they both do so well that we're laughing and arguing about who's better. I absolutely think your system will pay. What I think is going to pay slightly more is it takes a little more discipline and a little more knowledge, but not much, is the buy low, sell high. And what do I mean by that? Find a team that lost the week before, lost and didn't cover, playing a team that won and did cover. And you essentially, like a stock, the public, with all the new squares coming in, that team lost last week and they didn't cover. Let's say they got smoked. Everyone's low on them, and they're up against a team that just won and covered. I think you would find more value. Again, macro system, but it's not every game of the week. That only happens a couple pairings every week. It takes a little more work, but we'll do it, and we'll see. I think with all the square bettors, the most value you're going to find every week, in addition to the underdogs, is the underdogs that got smoked last week playing someone that did the smoking.
I think that system hit in the low 60s last year. Yeah, and that's a really good number. Now, let me ask you this. What if we did a hybrid and said, hey, every team that lost last week that is now plus money on the money line, we now bet that number. I would love to test that system. I think we should do my system and that hybrid. Or maybe do it this way. We just take every NFL underdog money line, but if that underdog lost last week, we put an additional half unit on them or something.
I get it. And I'm pretty new to Twitter, but I have been playing with it. It's tough. It's going to be hard to do with baseball. I'll probably do the Sunday night game or something prime time.
I really like that hybrid system now that you brought that up. I think that's a winner.
I've been trying to survey people and just see, does the public naturally steer themselves toward more losers than winners?
Yeah.
My Twitter reach is too small to actually get good reads on it, but I want to get up to like getting like a couple hundred votes on a game a day.
Yeah.
And just tracking public perception.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. All right. Well, to be clear, I'm doing this for this NFL season. I'm putting $1,000 on every single NFL underdog money line for the whole year. My prediction is I'm up $40,000 in net profit by the end of the season, and that includes playoffs and Super Bowl.
The question is, will you stick with it?
Yes.
I feel like the most
unless I go over 16 on the first week.
No, what I've seen going back to St. Peter's.
Yeah.
People that try and do these systems try and mitigate losses, and they skip 1 or 2 games a week, and they end up missing the biggest winners.
You should know more than anyone that I won't do that, because I even asked myself, I was like, I shouldn't even take these 16 seeds. I know they're going to lose. I still did it out of principle.
Yeah.
I've lost $400 on that out of principle, because it wasn't even out of principle. It was out of like FOMO, right? I was like, if I literally, after I said I was going to take every underdog money line in March Madness, if I sit here and I don't take the number 16 seeds and one of them hits, I'm going to be livid with myself. So I was like, it's $400. It is what it is. None of them hit. But the two, I think
we made that on the blackjack table in 15 minutes.
That's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, that was more of a fun marketing campaign. The NFL season, though, $1,000 is real money. If I'm putting that on every underdog, like, again, I wouldn't be doing this. There's 2 reasons I'm doing this. One, I think it's going to be fun as hell and entertaining and great for marketing. And 2, I legitimately think it's going to be profitable. It was last year. And the NFL, the amount of square and public money that's coming in this season compared to last year and the year before and the year before that. And what do we know about all that money? People love favorites.
And let me add one thing here, too, just for anyone that wants to mirror this and maybe doesn't have $1,000 times 16. I'm going to try and talk in units for a second. You shouldn't really go over 25 units, whatever that is. People are going to be like, is Gino saying this shit? This is gambling, but max, you should be talking about 25% of your bankroll, because you need to get the system at least. You need to be able to ride out 4 weeks. If you can't, if 2 bad weeks wipes you out, that's just flat out gambling.
So what should the unit size be? If you're betting on 16 underdogs, is it a quarter unit?
I would say,
because that's only 4 units over the course of an entire NFL week. That's not that bad.
If you're gonna blindly bet it, I would say you can go as high as half a unit.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
if you're going half a unit, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Because if you get absolutely wiped out, that's only 8 units.
Yeah, 100%.
And if you really want to gamble, I'd say a unit each underdog. But then, that, again, people are thinking, don't think, well, damn, I could lose 64 units. No, the underdogs ain't going 0-64 the first 4 weeks. So
no.
I would say a half unit to 1 unit is the sweet spot. So for anyone out there, just 1 unit just means 1% of the total amount you could lose before you got to quit. That's all. I'm just trying to give people relative.
And think of it this way. All it takes is 1 big underdog to cash, and you're like close to even on the day.
I just don't want my man Matty here hitting open on the tropical smoothie register to make it to 3 or 4 weeks. That's what I'm trying to avoid. Trying to avoid that.